All right. Good morning, all you people who have patiently been waiting. So, technical difficulties to start out the morning, right? So, we hopefully the computer is going to repair itself here with whatever is going on with it. And welcome to a rainy Sunday. And yes, I have comics, but I'm probably going to put those off because I've been on a little bit of a hiatus just from life, traveling around, buying some comic books. Uh, After a year of a lot of medical stuff, I think I'm finally recovered. I've actually started jogging again. Maybe I feel like I'm fat Elvis and it's time to go back to, 50s Elvis and stuff, right? So trying to get a little bit in shape, doing a little bit of art here and there, and just doing a little bit of work. And in that time, I've come in and out of comic book YouTube, if you will, looking at things and seeing things, and I'm reminded of a couple of years ago where, oh, look at this, watch this, the computer's going to start working here. But anyway, but I remember a couple of years ago that I've been making these YouTube videos since 2010, 2011, talking about comics and other things and subjects. The shape of this channel has gone up and down over the years and stuff. But I remember I remember years ago that one YouTuber who'd been here probably about 1 or 2 years or something had taken a hiatus himself. He had moved and some other things in life, came back after like, I don't know, 5 or 6 months, and when he came back and he saw all the channels that he wanted, he made this reaction video. And then he disappeared because he was like, when did everybody become live talk shows? Because everybody started doing live shows and getting in groups and doing these roundtable things and stuff that already been around, but they were like part of YouTube. It's like everybody went exclusive with him and his viewpoint, and then he disappeared. Hey, good morning, Matilda. Great to see you. So I come back after just a few weeks, and I've got some opinions about what I'm seeing, and some things, and sometimes we just need to talk about what we're seeing out there because right now, at least in the scope of what I'm seeing and what my friends have been sending me video wise and things that I get curious about and look at. When it seems like it's the drama seems to be the thing now. Hey, what's up, comic book collector? Great to see you, man. So there's a handful of things going on, and I do not want to be the guy who comes off like it's sour grapes or anything, man. I'm just the weatherman telling you what the weather is with what I'm seeing, and maybe we can get it steered back. And I'm probably going to be doing another comic book haul video later today, maybe in this evening and stuff, right? I think the last time I was here, the morning show goes well, and then an evening show goes well, both of which is, just fine with me. It doesn't have to get so much in there. So we are coming at you today at August 11th. I am on my phone. Hope you can hear me here. Other people popping in now. The computer's fixing itself. We are in August 11th, 2024, 9:54 in the AM. And as far as I know, it is sunny. Good morning. Everybody's just popping in here, right? So, one of the things that I may tweet to my horn just a little bit here is for years I've had a thing with CGC. There are three CGC graded books in this room. One was a contest winning years ago on here on from a YouTube channel, The Great Legend. The other two I bought for shits and giggles at a flea market a few months ago, and they're probably sitting over there. I could probably grab them, but they're two Grant Morrison Justice League books, and they're like nine. I don't know. They're in the nines, and I got them for $5 and stuff, right? And apparently they were some of the first graded comics going by the label and everything over there, right? And I've always sort of been like, oh, I can see the positives of grading to where if you're new to the hobby and you're getting online, you have a label, it's got a number you can understand, and you know exactly what you're buying. Because I know I have bought many Bronze Age books and gotten home and there's been pages ripped out because it was like the history of the Batmobiles for Batman. There was a Marvel stamp in it that somebody wanted. Somebody ordered, they had the audacity to subscribe to their comic books and cut out the subscription label. Oh, how dare they? And people have sold them that they were fine. So, yes, there are pluses with that. But then we get into the exaggerated prices of it. We started, it seems that it became its own thing, its own little bubble, and prices for those became, and they still are in a few things, extremely ridiculous, right? Because you have a encased comic, even though they take precautions with it, with acid-free paper in between the front page and the back page and whatever else they do. Your comic is still aging in there. You still need to store it. You'll still need to keep it safe from the environment. We want a cool, dry place, people. No matter what. And I can show you this. I have a, just to show you what I'm talking about. As you can see, I've been working on the comic book room, but I keep that in here, to keep the moisture down. And oh yeah, while we're at it here, I want to kind of take you around here where I've been working on the comic book room, rather than go on these rants to where this thing is getting to where we can look. But yeah, if you go to my Instagram, you're going to see I put up some posters. Yeah, I got to put up some stuff, right? It's been sitting around, and I still have tons more. So yeah, I've been working on a few things here. Maybe time for do a shelf review. Anyway, so as we were saying there, let me get this back on here. We're live, folks. You just never know what's going to happen. There we go. And there we go. So anyway, we were talking about like CGC and things like that and what's going on out there, right? So the prices got completely and totally ridiculous, just like this live stream is going. So anyway, so as I've been saying for years, as we get ridiculous about these prices as this video is going so far with this live stream, basically I've been saying for years that there's just too much room in CGC for the greed. The greed that goes on, and basically it's real subjective for CGC to give you a 9 and 8, and I refuse to believe that they're going to give 10s because they want repeat customers to come back. You got to have a goal. You got to keep feeding, chasing that dragon to get that perfect book and stuff, right? So what is going on with this here? Okay, so I want to be crooked because I don't know what's going on with this. Okay. So anyway, so back in February, get back on track here. In February, they had their big scandal. Now, for years, I've been saying something is going to happen. There is just too much room to where you take your book, you mail it in, you've got so many hands on it, you don't have eyes on the people that are doing it, and you're putting a lot of trust in complete strangers, even though it's a business, they've been around for a while. But they've had other scandals over the years. This isn't new. So back in February of 2024, allegedly, people were sending their books back in to be regraded, from what I understand. And 2 employees there were stealing those books, replacing it with lower books, making fake labels, and all sorts of other things. And it turns out that this really tainted the whale, if you will, because they started finding out a lot of books over the years, if they allegedly could ever track down every book this has happened to, has been affected. And so I have been on several live streams over the years, on shows, guests of people on their shows and things like that. And when I would bring something like that up, it would be a turd in a punch bowl. No, they couldn't happen. And I didn't really push it. I was a guest on those shows, but I've said it here on the channels, and it finally happened. So I come back after just a few weeks of was telling people who are late to the show here that, the last few weeks I'm getting back in shape. All the medical stuff for a year seems to finally have paid off. I'm getting back to normal. I'm doing art. I'm working. I'm doing things. And I come back and I see some of this drama because now I'm seeing videos dedicated to where people aren't saying a word. They're taking their CGC 9.8, 9.6 books, and they're taking hammers and they're taking screwdrivers, and they're just looking in that camera and just mugging the camera, and they're like breaking them open and stuff. And there's people like, again, Sticky Goose seems to be the drama king and stuff around here, or he's given a jolt to a lot of comic book videos. I'm going to get to him in a minute and stuff like that, right? He seems to be giving a jolt to a lot of these videos and stuff. What is going on with this? Let's try that. So he seems to have been given a jolt. I seem to have technical difficulties here. So let's do this. And we're back. I fixed it. So anyway, yeah, so the CGC thing happened. Now we can get back to gear. We can stop being ridiculous, right? So we have the CGC thing going on, people coming up, and now it's like Sticky Goose has made this video that I saw that ended up in my algorithm. That's why I'm bringing up the Sticky Goose channel. It's ended up in my algorithm where I saw I need to go back and watch the video, actually watch all the way through, but now they're saying they can't sell their CGC books and stuff, right? So I've been saying that was coming for a while, right? Also, that eventually we're going to reach the FOMO. We're going to have people spending a lot of money. They're going to get burnt. They can't get a return. And a lot of that has to do with, like I said, the community that's out there. Supposedly it has to do with more drama that's going on. And it seems like we go back again to Sticky Goose. So kudos to him. This was a lot to take in, but I actually sent this video out there and stuff like that. But apparently he did some kind of roast video on comic book YouTubers. I can't say anything about it because I didn't know about it. I heard about it after the fact. But what happened is there was reaction videos, and people are now talking more about drama than about comics. That's what I'm trying to get at and stuff, right? We got a guy named Jim Mick Collectibles that are out there, and he has gone on when they got busted. I don't know if it was the the Acetane books, or I think it was more along the lines of the fake comic book preview thing, trying to say where Mike Morales' first appearance was and stuff like that in a preview, which is ridiculous and stuff. Anyway, they got eggs on their face because a comic book YouTube channel ended up finding a comic books preview for months before that had more of Mike Morales before he was on the cover of a comic books preview. Whatever. And Jim Mitt actually came on there, and I think it was Kingdom Comics or something. Anyway, there was a Instagram channel where he popped up, and I got called a salty YouTuber on there. So now it seems like Jim Mick Collectibles did something about Comic Tom and Jim Mick Collectibles or something like that. He's saying fat Jim Mick Collectibles. I've warned people about these speculation channels, if you will, from the get-go. The videos are up there and stuff. And I think there's so much that comes out of that spider webs and stuff like that you get away from really talking about the comics and stuff, which is fine, But I've always said there should be a balance with this stuff. I'm not big on let's just burn and complain about all the comics. No, do a review if the comic's good. If it's comics bad, have a moment there. Don't always, don't do 100% one thing. And speculation in that thought is that's always been part of the hobby. That's one of the things that was part of it. That's cool. That brought joy to it. There's many things. There's the collecting, the hunting, the specking, knowing what's going on, the flipping. It's all part of it. It's when you get into the greed and that's all you do and get into the clicks, right? So the Sticky Goose guy seems to have, I don't know if he's rejuvenated people or if people were wanting the drama or what was going on. But like I said, there's always been a little bit of drama here and there. And what really blows my mind is, as I've said before, making these videos since about 2010, 2011, being part of a smaller community, watching it grow and then watching it turn into impossible to keep up with, which I'll talk about that in a minute also. That's about all the way up to about 2016, if I had to guess, a channel like Sticky Goose Comics would not have made it or even had stuck around for a few months just because of how things have changed over the years and how it was before, because we had people come up and try to do that. That's why it kind of blows my mind that Sticky Goose seems to be getting under a lot of people's skin, because these channels have been here before They have tried to roast people before, do the tongue-in-cheek thing where you weren't sure if they were laughing at you or if they were being part of the community and laughing at us, trying to act like they were like the Don Rickles of comic book collectors or whatever. So it blows my mind how he seems to have just gotten under people's skin and stuff like that. And I've said before, Sticky Goose, I saw some road videos that he did. And it just wasn't my thing. It was cool what he was finding and stuff. I saw some video where he found like some guy's house. The whole house was like a comic book collection. And then, like I said, I've had a few friends, Josh, shout out to Josh and everybody would, kind of talk about it, send it to me. And then I would tell my friends like, no, I'm not into watching his stuff. And then here lately, it's like, you can't turn on a video without somebody having like hurt feelings or something, or I don't know what's going on, but he's gotten under some people's skin. Right. But then we get to like the Comic Tom, the speculation, the Gem Mint collectibles and stuff. And it seems like Gem Mint collectibles, after, got on Instagram, called some people, got called out for what I was coming up with, making a bad call, a bad spec call, and then all the things they got over. Apparently there's like a history with him. Like he has his friends. I didn't know they were called Geminites and stuff, right? That his fans are Geminites stuff. But apparently he broke from Comic Tom. I don't know how people are going to be able to handle that. I hope everybody's going to be okay. And he made sure it was friendly and stuff. And apparently he signed a whatnot contract or something and was getting paid. And now he's supposedly having problems. And he's trying to make a phoenix out of his channel or something. And, if it works, it works. If it's cool, it's cool. I just find it ironic that after calling, kind of attacking some people or whatever he's done over the years, he's gone down. And that's usually when you meet the people you stepped on going up. So that could be an interesting journey. And a guy named Manimal did a video with some guy called Thorough or something. If you guys know these people, good for you. This is all new to me. I'm just sitting here like, what the hell is going on out here? So it was called Thorough. And the guy named Thorough was hosted. It was on his channel. And, the Manimal guy apparently was with Gem Mint in the early years and stuff where people were freaking out like he had a partner named Manimal. I'm laughing because the guy has named himself after an 80s show, which I absolutely love. I've said many times over the years on this channel, I would love to see a TV movie where we get the Misfits of Science, the Man from Atlantis, Manimal, Automan. We get all these old TV shows, the Master, our American Ninja and the Master there. And I would love to see like this crossover show with all of them, like a Crisis of TV show Earth, with, cheap but lovable superhero shows. Bring them all together and have the A-team come in and save the day. I don't know. So apparently minds were blown, and I couldn't make it through the whole thing. I had to speed up kind of through some of it because I really was interested in what the beginnings of Gem Mint was and stuff, right? Because I actually saw Gem Mint. Gem Mint used to watch us allegedly and stuff, some of the original crew. And I remember he would come on, had a shaved head, really overweight, and he was hip hop, and it was yep and talking all hip hop and stuff. I'm like, oh man, the kids are going to like this. This is going to be a younger crowd. And I kind of went on because it was statues and stuff, right? So, good for him. Hopefully he's like on this journey to, I don't know, rediscover himself, get it going on and stuff. But what I found very interesting is Manimal was talking about his subscriptions and stuff. And Manimal mentioned the comic book community, statue community or something. You can find the video. And he turned around and he said something about he feels like that comic book YouTube or statues YouTube or whatever, pop culture YouTube, whatever, seems in his mind is a niche market. And he finds it hard to believe that people can get hundreds of thousands of subs and stuff, right? And he kind of alluded to that, the fact that those may or may not have been bought and things like that. So Gem Mint, I think he did the right things, that he did a video where he addressed Manimal coming on. And there's a few things that I noticed where he was like, yeah, that happened. I did that. His point of view, my point of view, maybe we didn't meet there. He addressed it, but there was others. He didn't address every allegation in there about buying subs and buying views. And that's one of the things I've always sort of suspected over the years. I've also suspected over the years that the drama, like over the years with Comicsgate and before that, the SJW thing with certain, anti-SJW people and stuff like that. There was a time in 2006 where I was privy to some message boards because I had a video that popped and went viral, and some bigger channels took an interest, and I met some people behind the scenes. Some channels are still there, some aren't, but was privy to a message board where people were communicating and they were planning on what their subject was going to be. And you would never have guessed how coordinated some of that stuff was back in 2016 and 17, which is one of the reasons, of many reasons, my channel didn't go that way, even though I have had plenty of things. Oh, wow. So we get the spec things, man. There's all kind of comments, man. I might go by those later. I'm on a roll here and get all this off my chest, right? So there's a point to me bringing all this up and stuff, right? And then, so that's the Jim Mint thing. He breaks away from Comic Tom, and then there's people making videos saying like it's a smart thing for him to do. People in general don't like Comic Tom. All this stuff is coming out that come behind the scene. These aren't just guys setting up in a corner of their house or in a room that they've made and things by themselves and doing this thing. There's a lot of coordination. That's my whole point. So good for them, but it is a business. I would really like, some, what do you call it, man? Where you can kind of, come on, man, give me, let people kind of see behind the scenes, let them know what's really going on. All right. And then that kind of gets me. What was surprising me is that, I delved into this stuff. I looked at it. I watched it. Some of the stuff fascinated me. Some of it was like, man, this is, and then I noticed there's not a lot of comic book talk coming on. There's a lot of people getting on here and they're talking about this drama with this. Hardly anybody's talking about Comicsgate, which cracks me up. And then there was like unalive threats towards Neurotic, and some guy got on Twitter and X and went after Critical Drinker and Neurotic, and I'm like, oh my god, this is wild. And then we get to the one where right before I dipped out, I got an email from one of my friends. It was a group email. And then I got my buddy who texted me. And throughout this whole day, I probably had about 4 people get a hold of me, and it was the Neil Gaiman scandal that was going on. And that's been going on for weeks. And I made a prediction. I said, he is so big outside of comics. I should have pulled up the email to show my response. He was so big outside of comics, and that he is quite famous, and comics is very niche, and he's got scripts that are in the works for movies. He's had movies made of his work, television shows on Amazon, the Netflix Sandman show. He has many, many things going on outside of comics to where he's a celebrity, to where I'm like, it's not going to hurt him that bad. I also said that eventually other people are going to come out of the woodwork. It's like there's a formula to this. This has happened so many times. And he's extreme left. He has the one that has bent the knee, and he tries to say that if you've ever read Sandman, you will always see that they were always woke and stuff like that, right? There's humanitarian, and there's balanced storytelling, and then there's agenda propaganda, super left leaning, and wokeism and stuff, right? It's not the same thing, okay? One takes work and effort and balance and professionalism, and the other one doesn't. I mean, we'll just, I don't have to go on there, right? So as a huge fan of Sandman, I could talk Sandman all day and talk about themes and foreshadowing, and the one panel that was a clue that there was a conspiracy against Morpheus, and how he'd been setting up everything since he escaped from his prison to all the way to his death in issue 69. It's a masterpiece when it comes to comics with what Neil Gaiman did. But if you also read his stuff and realize that he's left-leaning, this is just another person on there who is out there trying to be virtuous. And the more someone puts out that they're virtuous, the more things they have to hide and stuff. If this all happened allegedly, from what I've seen, I'm wondering if the 2 women accusing Neil Gaiman of what he's going, if it's even going to make it to court. I'm kind of laid back to see where this is going. But I kind of mentioned that eventually more people come out of the woodwork. Supposedly 2 more as of this recording. Not many people are actually on that on YouTube really covering this. One person has got their little channel gone viral, and I can't watch her. I can't watch her. Every now and then, there's just people I watch, and I'm just sort of like they just get on my nerves because they talk like this, like it's their real voice, and they have their glasses down on their nose, and they're so fake, it's unreal. You know what I mean? Like they're making a character, and they spend 20 minutes with trigger warnings and explaining things about themselves, and them just get to the point. Then they made a second video that I don't know if it hit because that first one hit. And so there's people going after it and stuff, right? So did Neil Gaiman do it? Did he not do it? It doesn't really matter, because it's a legal matter. Those two people that's the difference with this. There has been a police report. And his wife has said, allegedly, she told one of the victims there was 13 other stories like hers. The fact that it dealt with butter, and there's a Cops episode. If you know Cops in the States, this is how ridiculous it kind of comes off to me, with the storytelling in it, not the actions, if they happen or not. But look up Cops and look up can of corn assault. Okay, a lady got hit with a can of corn, and the way she tells the story, you're just like, wow. And that's kind of what this feels like. And I know there's butter involved and things like that. And then when you actually get on if and read the actual allegations, as I've seen people try to do and stuff, it does get into some really horrid stuff. So the whole focus is more about the celebrity of Neil Gaiman and the fact that somebody from the left has been busted again. It seems to be the thing more than it is about the victims. That's what I'm trying to get at and stuff, right? Did he do these? We don't know. But his wife did supposedly come out and say something on a Patreon, something or other. So it's been like a slow burn, and supposedly appearances by Neil Gaiman have slowly been getting canceled. And I don't know if anybody has outright finally really spoken out against him. But the thing about it is if you go back and you read Neil's work, you can't really be that surprised. You know what I mean? And what I'm talking about is that I'm not saying the guy is or is not a predator. I'm talking about the subject matter that he infiltrated into his work, to where that when people get very wealthy, you know what I mean? And a lot of people start telling them yes, they do end up living in a world of their own. So whether Neil Gaiman did or did not do anything, I honestly believe he doesn't think he did do anything wrong. You know what I mean? People are looking at the hypocrisy and wanting to see Neil go down, and it's the drama more than the actual act. Oh yeah, A Pilgrim, I didn't know what happened to Neil Gaiman. That's part of the thing. That's part of what's amazing people is when people find out, they're like, how is this not getting out there? But they'll go after other people and stuff, right? So yeah, so we have that going on, right? And then I want to kind of like bring it down a little bit, because this is one thing that you cannot accuse me of having sour grapes about this, because if anything, it's more of a protective thing that I could be wrong about. Okay, that's what I'm trying to say. There's some fault here, but it's not from sour grapes. It's not like a personal thing, right? But it really has gotten on my nerves. I do not know how I ran across it, because years ago, just a couple years ago, shout out to Don Comic Book Junkie, because I believe he is the one that ended up letting me and maybe Captain Strangelove know this was going on. I don't know if the captain knew or he already knew. I don't know, right? But apparently, I've talked about this before, and it wasn't just a big deal, right? Just to me, it just wasn't a big deal because it was obvious what it was, right? But then it's like you realize the audacity to this, right? So a couple of years ago, hey, what's up? Here we go. Gore, I'm so glad you're here. We're going to slow down here. I'll get to the next thing here in a second. The problem for Neil is that many of his fans don't see him as a human being and have unreasonable expectations about him. That's on them. That is fantastic, Gore. I'm going to read that again for the people way in the back. I think that's what the kids say, right? The problem for Neil is that many of his fans don't see him as a human being and have unreasonable expectations about him. That's on them. I think that, see, this is why I love, this is one of the things that keeps me doing YouTube and stuff, right? Sometimes I can just go around the bush, not jump in the hole. And then all of a sudden somebody can just come in like Gore just did and just bottom line, not only what I was trying to say, but better than what I was trying to say. So yeah, that's about it. And like I said, Neil Gaiman is very wealthy, and I don't know how he. I don't know. I've seen the documentaries. There's something on Tubi about him growing up, and they talked more about how as a kid he would grab books and he would grab a boat and he would be like on a little river floating down, reading a book and stuff. They don't really talk about his finance. I didn't really catch his financial stuff, right? But anyway, I'm telling you, you have middle class. You have poverty, middle class, upper class. Then you get into rich, and then you get into wealthy. Rich and wealthy, two different things. Okay, and I'm putting Neil into the wealthy, and they just do not think like us. And then you mix it up with Amanda Palmer, and they put out lots of personal things out there that you know you pay the price. You know what I mean? If you do that, open marriages and things like that, and you just know that leads to things that when you're rich and wealthy and bored, you have time to get into some really weird things. If you do right. Anyway, and the plus this bohemian artist thing that infiltrated in there. You either know what it is or you don't. And who knows how deep they got into it. So, my thing is, you like hairy armpits, you're in a whole nother breed than I am. Okay. I'm just saying. Okay. A little judgy. That was a little judgy. I'll own that. A little catty. That was a little catty. Let me get a cup of coffee on that one. I'm cracked myself up. Back to my favorite coffee cup here, right? So then, like I said, this next thing, okay. Gore, we're going to have to do a show soon. We're going to have to do a show soon, and I'm fine talking about this. I think what makes this more difficult is the deep humanity found in Gaiman's stories. It seems like a contradiction of the man's work. I absolutely agree with that statement, and also at the same time, my thing is that yes, the humanity that he puts in there, the character of Wanda in Sandman. Indulge me for a minute, folks, and I'll get back to the drama I've seen. The character of Wanda and Gore, I would love to do a show with you, man. Please email me, let me know if you're available, and things like that. I think we reached a point we could talk about this. So basically, the humanity that he puts in there is actually what I was talking about, like how I don't consider his stuff work. It's humanitarian. You take the character of Wanda from A Game of You. At the time in the 90s, it was still called transvestite, as far as I know. But Wanda lived as a woman, wanted to be a woman. And what did Gaiman do? He balanced that story with the fact that the witches, who are female, were trying to do a spell to the moon, if you will, to get to a character's dream state. And Wanda wanted to help. And they told her, no, it's got to be down on a chromosomal level. You know what I mean? He addressed everything in there about the character of Wanda. And then her friend who knew Wanda actually went to, I think it was Ohio or something, went to her funeral, had a aunt who was running the family, told her that we will not be talking about Wanda. He'll be going by his name, his male name. He's being married as a man. And his friend went out there and took lipstick and wiped the name off and wrote Wanda on the gravestone. You know what I mean? Yeah. So Gore, you're absolutely right. I think about the people being, let down by their hero with what's in his books and what he puts out there and stuff. But again, I feel like if you want to look at it from the flip side of the coin, there's enough stuff in his work where, you're sort of like, okay, I can see some of this, with this is what's in his mind and stuff. So yeah, there's a lot of people disappointed with what they read the work. And is that going to taint the work? Are they going to start reading this stuff like I have to where I can see both of it? I think that's interesting. I think it's interesting. So many comments, and I'm definitely going to be going through them. Yeah. Oh, here we go. On a book channel or a YouTube made a video about Gaiman and the allegation, I too brought up A Game of You. Wanda as well. It's my favorite Sandman art. The end is wonderfully painful. Exactly. And that's Neil Gaiman's work to me. Wonderfully painful in some things. Yeah. And I go to the word humanitarian, Yes, Cora, it's time. And like I said, we talk about, I'm always open to talking about whatever. This, I think a Neil Gaiman would be perfect, So anyway, now to kind of move this along here and stuff, because I never planned on doing this on my phone. I'm gonna have to get this computer going. But anyway, oh my goodness. So in the comic book community, I saw this years ago. Backing up what I was saying, I'm positive. I'm 99% sure positive. Don Comic Book Junkie had tagged me with his quote where there's a channel. I don't know who the channel is. I don't know what the channel is. I remember looking at this years before, and hopefully what I'm talking about now, it's the same people. But if it's not the same people, the same principles apply. Okay. Um, I got a message from Matilda Gothica, and I can't wait to see who she's talking about. Anyway, um, oh, that was so funny, Matilda. It cracked me up. But anyway, but there was I think it was an Instagram post, and it was like, hey, it's the comic book community awards show, YouTube comic book community awards show, and they had a lifetime achievement award. And Don Comic Book Junkie and bless their hearts, 3 or 4 other people were there. But Don Comic Book Junkie looked like me. He was the first in that thread, and he definitely had tagged me. I don't know if he had tagged Captain Strangelove. The computer may be working. Anyway, got some ODD stuff going on here. Sorry, guys. So anyway, but it was a Lifetime Achievement Award and they were announcing who they nominated. And so help me, some of the YouTubers that they had on there, people were pointing out they'd only been making YouTube videos for like a year to 3 years or something. And Don was the one saying, how do you have a Lifetime Achievement Award without Captain Strangelove or Howler Mouse? And I was just sort of like, oh no. And I'm never really big. I've already gone through it before several times, 2-3 times, where we had big divisions, big fallouts. And this is what I'm saying. People like Sticky Goose and stuff would not have been stuck around here because we had people doing that stuff. His channel wouldn't have made it back then. Of course, now that's why I'm making this video. What's the difference between now and then and stuff, right? But they wouldn't have made it, so I wasn't big on division. I'm like, this doesn't count. Nobody knows this is going on. Let them do their thing. So I came, that was truly my feelings, just to kind of come up with something that just calmed everybody down, live and let live, let them do their thing. But now, as time has gone by a little bit, a year or two there, I'm like, how arrogant do you have to be to come in and allegedly, this is my viewpoint. I don't even want to say allegedly because that implies this is what they were doing. So let's say what this viewpoint is and stuff, right? The viewpoint is how do you come in to YouTube and yes, have a YouTube channel? I have no idea who the people are. I don't know who's nominating what. I don't even know the channel. So let me make that clear. And I'll be up for a discussion, you know what I mean? But how do you come in, not know who all the comic book YouTubers were, call it a community, and not know the history and decide that you're going to be the one to make an awards committee? What that turns into is a clique, a / good old boy system. It ends up being self-serving. It isn't really. The irony is that awards is to acknowledge work and stuff like that, and you're the one determining what the perimeters of a community is, which sounds like the channels you've watched for the last 2-3 years or something, who your buddies were, and who's kissing your ass to want to be nominated to get this merit. It's very misleading. It's exploitive, misinformation. And where does it end and start? Do you go back to the people do you include the people who have been here since 2010, 11, 2009, great legend, Captain Strangelove? How long do you have to be a YouTuber to know that you're going to be sticking around and be deserving of the merit of an award? You know what I mean? Are there rules here and stuff like that? And how come it's not widespread and you haven't done your homework on who is in the community to ask them if this is going on? Do they want to be a part of it or not? Do you mind being nominated? Should we nominate who? Can you give me some idea who's out there and stuff? There's no homework in it and stuff. It's very self-serving and it's very cliquish. So I don't think it should be, take out the word community, because it is not a comic book community. You're building your channel on the backs of other smaller channels is what it comes down to. Are you including Strange Brains parts, people who actually make the edit videos and stuff? Do you have a do you understand the categories of comic book YouTubers? Do you understand the storytellers that were or are Comics Explained, Comics Historian? Do you know why they call uh, Captain Strangelove the godfather of this? Because he started it all. That's what I'm getting at and stuff. It's not a comic book community award. It's the good old boys, and we all hang out and we're going to stroke each other's dick. Basically, is what it is. And it didn't used to bother me, but now that it's gone on, and now I think you go to a website and get nominations and stuff like that. Um, you know, the audacity to do that. You know what I mean? The audacity to come in and act like you have some kind of status or loose ideas of what makes up what the awards and stuff like that. No, that's not an award. The awards are given out on merit, and things like that. You know what I mean? And has Captain Strangelove been nominated or won an award? I don't know, but if he doesn't get one at some point, then you have no. I don't know, man. Star Wars had Alec Guinness. Okay, all right. Movies that would come out would make sure they had that star to give them credibility. And if you had not included, of all people, Captain Strangelove, possibly the great legend. I don't know if he's much more social than all of us, man. He may know these people, may know things about it. I'm being real careful. I don't want to throw out names and act like they're associated with my comments and stuff, right? But there's a handful of people that are still around, and if you have not done it, whatever, you know what I mean? So, yeah. Like I said, it's one of those things that may be more of a protective thing with me, but don't call it a comic book community award, YouTube comic book community award or whatever, because it's not. It's the thing. Okay. Oh, yeah, the click. It's a clickish thing, man. And they can do it, man. But the thing about it is I don't know how other people. I don't really hear that many people talking about it. I saw one or two people that I knew / know on Facebook being like, they actually posted, here's the nominations, or come on and nominate me and things like that. And I'm like, what the hell? What are they doing? Here we go. Oh, there we go. Sticky Goose Guy sure came as a prick in his videos. That's what I mean. He gets under people's skin and he comes off. I don't know how he is, but I think I need to bring this home. Their circle only. Exactly. It's a circle thing. The awards meant well, but like you pointed out, maybe the awards shouldn't have been abridged to include their circle. Yeah, maybe if you're friends with someone and you're the one doing the nominations, you shouldn't be allowed to do the nominations. It's obvious that it's not credible, So here we go. Damn, I catch a live stream. It's Comics Unlimited. Oh, nice to see you. Fantastic. All right, I'm gonna have to go through some stuff here. Exactly to the point, Mouse. I agree. A click, no more than that. Yeah, and like I said, in the big scheme of things, it's not really that important. But at the same time, it does do damage. It is exploitive. It's not inclusive, and I mean that in the actual ethical way. You know what I mean? Not in the DEI way or political way or anything like that. And I've reached an age also. So little something here that I'm getting on, right? So just to let everybody know something I was going to stay here, man. I've talked about stoicism and stuff. I've reached that point in my age where it's not going to show up, but this is Marcus Aurelius Meditations. I'm finally actually going to be reading this. Stoicism, where there are things out there that you can only control yourself, not what's out there. And to badly quote something, it's that like when you get up, you can have a great day as long as you prepare yourself for knowing that you're going to run into assholes and dumbasses and idiots and people, but they all still play their part and they're still human beings and stuff, right? And stuff like that, right? At the same time, I am also to shoot my own horn, going back, and I am getting serious about my art. And I'm actually trying to start painting something that I've never really had great affection for, and I'm repairing I'm going back and I'm repairing previous attempts to start painting and things like that. And at the same time, have other things to say and things like that. So, like I said, imagine my surprise to come in and get caught up on this in the past week. You know what I mean? All the stuff that's been going on more or less since February and the last month and everything, and to see all this stuff coming to a head. And then it dawned on me that it seems people really do love drama now. My problem with it is that a lot of this stuff seems very juvenile. Okay. Now, is that for me to judge or to say or do anything? No, I'm just stating, I'm kind of reporting the weather. And that's why it kind of blows my mind. Some things can be personal. I have done things where I have expressed opinions and I've had viewers or other channels, as tame as what I said in my opinion and stuff like that, they for some reason felt I was talking directly at them. None of these people I feel like have done that before. Um, except one person because they did, I mean, so, it was there for all to see, right? So this is just what's going on. It's not so much a judgment. This is just my viewpoint of what's going out there, man. Every now and then I kind of take in what's going on because I have been here a long time. And I've got a bit of an investment. There's times I wanted to quit. Who knows how long I'll be doing this stuff anymore. I've got other interests going on. This channel could change. But it's just blowing my mind that what would not have floated back in 2006. We're talking 6 years of people kind of fighting the drama, being protective of the community, keeping it on topic of comics. And that's what is considered the golden age. You talked about comics trivia, but there have been thousands of hauls. And for anything to survive, you have to evolve and change. And I'm not talking about being trendy. You know what I mean? Um, I think it's kind of wild that you could go back to 2010 or 11. I really got to see when I started this. I used to know. Anyway, you can go back, and I feel like somebody could watch me age, watch my hairline recede, watch me turn gray. I mean, we're talking 13 to 14 years and stuff, right? So I have seen groups come and go, right? Let's go all the way back. Do you remember when things were boob tube? Do you remember when the reaction videos were girls that would just get up and they would have their tits hanging out and they were just like, and I saw this video and I did this, and they would just mumble and jumble. When that fell apart, you had a few girls coming on with turtleneck shirts coming out like I'm not a ditzy airhead and stuff. I was playing a character, guys. That went down the tubes. Then we had the atheists come in. You had a whole atheist group that would come in and they would discuss religions and things like that. They turned into a spec group, and then you had people like, oh my God, I'm an Armored Saint. Is that it? I can't remember, right? But you had Armored Saint, the amazing atheist who'd been around and still around for 8 years, and Sargon of Akkad, and Woolly Bumblebee, and Christy Winters, who I think is real, and Thunderfoot, and Laughing Witch. All that came to a head, and then things changed. And then all of a sudden, you had Boxy disappear, and then you got Shoe on Head to come up. She got involved with Armored Saint, and they had their drama, and Jeff Holiday and all them. Those people have gone their own way. Then you had Bearing and Undoomed, and everybody was tagging up, and you had the anti-SJWs versus the little ASJWs and stuff. And then you had Comicsgate come up, and it was Comicsgate versus other Comicsgate. And then you had people like popping up and all that. That was like diversity in comics and all this stuff like that. And a lot of these people are still around. They've captured their audience, but they're not growing, or they have changed. You know what I mean? So I have seen all of this coming on, and I'm just kind of wondering, are we coming into the point where we're getting into juvenile drama? Is that what this is going to be about? Is it going to be more about that than the comics and stuff? Now, let me make clear a lesson I have learned over the years is that I would run from drama like you wouldn't believe. You know what I mean? But I have sat there in the barber shops and listened to men talk and gossip about people and things like that. We do it. Unfortunately, gossip is a part of society and stuff, right? And then I have worked with women for 98 years, and people need to realize that with what I'm saying, I'm talking about the behavior. It is not a slam, but women will talk about sex in ways that men will just sit there and blush and things. And yes, they gossip and they have burn sessions and stuff. Men have those as well. You know what I mean? So I think what we're looking at is the intensity and the frequency. You know what I mean? Men are a little bit lower, women are up there with it, and then it fluctuates on the person. Right? So these are just behaviors I'm pointing out, right? But I'm not going to be able to stick around and be involved or not involved. I'm not involved with any of it. I may involve myself just making a video like this. But it's not my thing. I go down the rabbit hole when it's there, and then once I'm off YouTube and I get it out or I discuss it with my actual friends or something like that, I'm good. I move on. I move on to other things and go on. It's more like entertainment in a TV show. There's not a real investment, except for that awards thing. That I've got to admit to myself that is under my skin a little bit, and I've talked about that. So yeah, is that what's happened? Are we in an era here where everybody wants to talk about the drama? I'm like, are we all involved in the drama? You know what I mean? And yeah, I think we are. I think it was inevitable. Sitting here trying to talk like Thanos. It's always been on the surface. It's always been to kind of book in what I've been saying. All this stuff is a part of what the hobby is and stuff like that, what these things are with YouTube and stuff, right? But unfortunately, when it comes to like YouTube and being a channel and things and like that and stuff, it seems like it's going away from the academic, the experience, the merit, and talking about big ideas. Because I am a believer, and I'm misquoting somebody, but to me, intelligent people talk about ideas and small people talk about people, like they get in gossip. And I think that's a little extreme because gossip is part of society. It is. There are some people who have tried to defend gossip so hard that they're saying that is if it has built a foundation that has saved societies because it kept them so informed. What it's done is kept us from being a bunch of inbred slugs walking around this earth is what it's done. But anyway, what do we have here? A pilgrim. My shop is unusual. Never seen anything like it. It's like the TV show Cheers. The owners, Steve and Beth, are like Sam and Diane. Their banter is hilarious. We all know each other. Yeah, that's what this community was. So when somebody would come in with drama, it was perceived as this guy's bringing in a shtick and they just want to stir up shit and cause trouble. I'm going backwards with these. When I Pilgrim, when I was young, I learned about comics from shoppers, people who would have a comic in their hand, and I would ask what that was about, or ask someone about a character in their current comic book, who they like. Let me see what we got here. Yeah, I'm going back. Some of these aren't going to make sense. 3 She-Hulk #1s, Boba Fett, Star Wars, Captain America, Transformers, G.I. Joe Run for helping the comers get first dibs. They loved it. I have no idea what I was talking about with 89 years. I don't remember saying that, so apparently I just got on a run there. Oh, yeah, that's great. I was saying a month ago, no one talks to each other about comic shops anymore. Yeah, they're talking about their comic book shops. Here we go. My comic book shop is drama free now, though a first fight almost broke out at the parking lot because a guy was angry someone parked too close to him. Macho stupidity. My shop had a bag and a board party yesterday. The owner brought out 2 full bins and customers sat in a circle to bag board and organize and went on an hour. That's fantastic. See, this is what I'm saying. Now, what were people talking? Salty Victor Shade. Salty Howler is a Renaissance man. Yeah, yeah. Nice. Oh, well, thank you for the okay. People are talking about the art. Oh, thank you, thank you. I was not milking it, guys, but I appreciate it. Yeah, not being able to not being able to. One of the things about art that nobody's asked that I have learned, and I don't know if it applies to other people. Again, it's a very introverted kind of thing with me. I have drawn since I was 4 years old, and actually tried to become a professional artist when I was younger. You're supposed to suffer for art to be a real artist and stuff. But when I made about 100, and I think it was 129 or $169 in 6 months, it was time to do something else. You know what I'm saying. Plus, I got arthritis. You can see old crooked finger there. I have arthritis in my left hand, so it actually changed on how I was able to manipulate tools, if you will. So I'm relearning, but painting was nothing I was big. I was a black and white guy. I was acrylic. I would make a living there or try to make a living going to businesses and painting scenes for holidays on their shop windows, that kind of deal. Excuse me. And I always doodled and stuff, right? And everything like that. But the painting, not be able to conquer this painting, So what I've kind of learned is sometimes you got to let go and let the paint do what it's going to do, and that transfers over into life, right? Uh, I'm in that stage of life, man, where I'm learning things that are probably all in front of me, you know. So yeah, that's a whole thing. So I'm going to kind of wind this up here with about what I've noticed in the stage of life, like with what you see, what's going on here and stuff, right? So I've reached a point that I think wisdom needs to be shared. A part of your life, I could pull out hierarchy of needs and all these little things. I can't believe I'm going to blank on it, man. But I can pull out all these hierarchy of needs and stages of life and social behavior and things like that. How to become, your goal in life is to reach a point in life to where you're self-actualized, and then you can help other people and have a purpose. If you're into substance abuse or alcoholic or something like that, one of the things they do is you serve other people. You reach stages in life to move forward and stuff, right? And I think something that I have learned, I'm probably going to write this down in a journal or something, is what I'm noticing is that when I was a kid, um, I was on both sides of this. There's times I just did not want to listen to older people. And then there were times where I was sitting down on a porch with a neighbor in 1980 because the guy had been in World War II. And I'm listening to all these guys talk about World War II. And I'm just not hearing the stories. I'm figuring out and listening to the people who were there and who was full of shit about what happened when they were there and things like that. And that's why I was trying to segue into the gossip part. I segued badly. Okay. So I think one of the things that gave me an advantage is that I think I had pretty good, not perfect. There's times I could kick myself, you know what I mean? But that's just, I was more young than I was rude, you know what I mean? More young than I was stupid, you know. But I think I knew when to shut up and listen to the older people and stuff, right? And I gained some wisdom. Not only did I gain wisdom with what they were talking about, but I gained wisdom with learning, getting a bullshit detector going. You know what I mean? Some people didn't accomplish a lot of things. They're unfulfilled. So I think the brain has something to where it repairs itself with that, and your stories will just grow and things like that, right? So there's a place for everything, right? And I'm at the age to where I'm noticing with the gray beard, the little wrinkles here, where I've gained weight a little bit that I'm getting off. Some because of pandemic, some because of being married, and a lot because of my medical stuff that's going on over the last year. It's becoming visible to the young people. I'm getting called sir. They're holding doors open for me and things like that, right? So I'm kind of wondering who it's going to be that is going to be able to overcome that youthful, oh my God, what's the word I'm using here for? The where they're able to slow down, they're able to fight that the impulsiveness of youth, and they know when to slow down and listen and stuff, right? And I think there's going to be some YouTubers out there and stuff. Right now, people are young. They think they're reinventing the world. You have to feel like you're immortal. So somebody can climb that cliff out there and get that handful of berries to feed a tribe. That's where a lot of that comes from. You have to have that mindset that you're going to live forever. But like I said, the people who I think really stand out are the ones who listen, and they're able to hear through the drama, and they learn that, hey, that is some good advice on this. Oh, this guy is full of shit. He talks through his ass. And if you want to see a good example of that, go watch that Thorough guy I'm talking about, Thoro, I think, and Manimal when they're talking about Jim Mint Collectible. You would hear Manimal talking and telling the story and doing everything and having to rein it in because the Thorough guy is just talking out his ass, and it's unreal. I was like, oh my God. And that's what I'm talking about here, man. So I'm going to wrap it up with that, man. His comic book YouTube turn it into drama. I don't know, right? So, guys, tonight, if I have time, which I think I should be able to make, even if it's just for 45 minutes or 30 minutes or something like that, we will go through I got a few new comics and picked up a few things, and we will talk about I'll show the haul and a few things that I got for the Howler Hustle and for cheap and stuff. So thanks for sitting in here. Thanks for joining me on a Sunday. Thanks for staying with me while we had the technical difficulties. Thank you for the few people out there who complimented the art. Appreciate it. It's a journey. Chicago Scutsy. That's a great story, Gore. It takes a lot to get me jealous. All right. Yeah. Oh, man, Gore's telling great stories here. Chicago Schultze, good morning, Howler. Great community. Just a quick hello. Great to see you. Matilda Gothica, check her out. Um, check out everybody's commented here. Yesterday, a young man came by to sell some books and say goodbye. He's going to law school. I happened to be there, and he had a comic book for me. I introduced him to Vertigo's Hellblazer. He's very grateful. He brought me a comic as a gift, nice and generous. Again, at my comic shop, people get to know each other. The atmosphere encourages it. They have chairs and coffee. Leadership, man. The owners sound like you have good leadership. They set the tone. That stuff starts from the top down, and then it attracts the customers that do that, and they add to it. Yeah, it was very much like the comic book community we have here. Yeah, yeah, and that's exactly how it used to be. 99%. We're talking all comic book channels. So, bye. Good seeing all of you. Thanks for the goodbyes, and everybody have a great day, man. Later. Be excellent to each other.